Lisa Starbucks. And thank you, Lisa.
Hello, welcome to all of you listening at home.
Woo! And all of you watching on Red Button TV or live on the Radio 2 website.
Yes, we are in Hull, the city of culture. To our friends at Radio Humberside, and of course to everyone here in City Hall tonight.
It's amazing. This energy is incredible. On stage is our amazing house band, the Friends of Dorothy, led by the great Mike Dixon.
And waiting in the wings, a fantastic lineup of artists, including Alison Moyet, Will Young, Marc Almond,
Tom Robinson, Bright Light, Noah Stewart, Alan Cord Jr., and the 34 voices of gay abandon.
That's right, all of us here to celebrate the 50th anniversary of an extraordinary piece of legislation that liberated thousands and gave birth to a whole new wave of creativity, freedom, and love.
And more about that after this, the anthemic super hit YMCA!
I think they loved it. A multi-million selling hit for the Village People. And our dance warm-up here in Hull tonight from our musical director, Mike Dixon and the Friends. Yes, tonight we celebrate a revolutionary act of Parliament that saw the beginning of the decriminalisation of homosexuality in the UK.
But before we tell you more about it, we'll go from vintage disco to new disco as we welcome our first artist. He's a guy I know very well because he supported Scissor Sisters on tour and because I was a guest artist on this next song from his album, Choreography.
Along with Elton John and Alan Cumming, I believe.
Yes, that's right. He has traveled all the way from the States to be with us tonight, singing All in the Name. It's Bright Light, Bright Light.
Hello.
All in the name of being somebody.
2,
3,
4.
What?
You can tell me anything, something wrong or right. Just pick me up, get me out of here while I've still got an appetite. And tell me something funny, so good I want to hear it twice. Just fill me up with rhythm and a beat and take me into the night. 'Cause I don't try to sleep these days, even when I do behave. No cigarettes, but in my own little way, I push to the limit of the night and day. All in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. All in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. Seems you don't know anything about walking in a straight line. We weave through all these streets, still choice has left us almost blind to how we used to make decisions with instinct and with time. Now if I blink, I'll miss the only second I get to catch another side. So I don't go to sleep these days, 'cause no one's got the time to waste. And we call it being young and say that it's fun when we really wanna walk away. But it's all in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. All in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. All in the name. It's all in the name. I'll tell you something funny I never found. One thing nobody in the crowd who can turn me up like I wish they would, but keep on pushing just in case they could. It's all in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. All in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. All in the name. It's all in the name. All in the name of being somebody that somebody cares about. Thank you.
Wow, that was Bright Light with All in the Name.
Yes, the breakthrough law we're celebrating tonight is surprisingly young.
Yeah, it's the same age as Nicole Kidman, Matt LeBlanc, Macy Gray, R. Kelly, and Noel Gallagher, who've all just turned 50.
And it's amazing to think, and a bit of a surprise to realize, that even as people enjoyed the sexual freedom of the 60s summer of love, it was still possible for one section of society to be dragged up in front of a magistrate for simply holding hands in the street or giving their loved one a kiss.
But that was the reality for thousands of gay people in 1967. Our second artist tonight is the writer of a song that's all about the impact of hiding your identity. Please welcome, with his pianist Martin Watkins, the brilliant Marc Almond.
Thank you very much. Just to say that this song, Lavender, was written by Martin and I, and it's really about a gay adolescence in the 1970s, 1960s, growing up in that time. The great inspirations you got from it, but also the scars that you were left with. Times that shaped me, and I think that shaped you, Martin, as well. And it's called Lavender. Mauve cravat and corduroy jeans. Well, we all know what that means. A halo of curls for satirican girls. Our Lady of the Flowers grows shadier by the hours. Lady Stardust, Judy Teen, in your own moon age daydream. Blush smeared across your cheeks, coal that stayed around for weeks, smudged on your eyes, a Bieber disguise. Maybelline in shades of green colored up your teenage scene, light of foot and limp of knees in the 1970s. Last night's panstick on yesterday's grime. You displayed all your bruises while I covered all mine. Elusive, mercurial, effeminate, ethereal. They whisper, you swish by, your eyes up to the sky. Lavender, lavender, he's got a touch of lavender. Lilac and lavender. Heartache noir, leaving a scar, exploring all the shades to be through life's black and white TV. Saint Dirk of Bogard showed you what to discard, so you splashed on some brute and lowered your voice when Charlie was really your choice. Last night's lyrics gave yesterday's shine. You held on to your sparkle while I lost all mine. And those long drunken nights with the misfits and rebels, playing the angel while sleeping with devils. Lavender, lavender, he's got a touch of lavender. Lilac and lavender. And this is the part where you'd get beaten up, but you're saved by a quip and a whole lot of luck. Frankie and Charlie have gone, now Larry and Kenny. Once they all had a beard, sadly now don't have any. Last night's indiscretion was yesterday's crime. You stayed true to yourself, but I was poisoned by my time. Elusive, mercurial, piss elegant, ephemeral. They whisper, you swish by, your eyes up to the sky. The renters on the dilly, in their fake leather jackets say, she's here on the meat rag, knowing all of the rackets where everything's gift wrapped and coming in packets. Just a knock on the door to some club where no need to say more. Lavender, lavender, he's got a touch of lavender. Lilac and lavender, lavender. So much there's not to say, you don't have to anyway. Wanna be a great dark man, being but a lesbian. Lavender.
Marc Almond.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was 72 years before the Sexual Offences Act of 1967 that one of the most famous Victorian playwrights of all time, Oscar Wilde, was sent to prison for 2 years for being gay. Convicted of gross indecency, he was sentenced to 2 years hard labor.
A sentence which ultimately led to his death at the age of 46.
The brilliant Oscar, author of The Importance of Being Earnest, The Picture of Dorian Gray, among many other works, wrote 2 pieces about his time in jail.
One, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, was written after he had been released, but the other was painstakingly written in his cell. He was allowed 1 piece of paper a day to do it, and wasn't even allowed to see the whole piece until his release.
Here is the actor, Alan Core Jr., to read an extract of Oscar Wilde's letter is written to his former lover, Lord Alfred Douglas, and it's called De Profundis, From the Depths.
I have lain in prison for nearly 2 years. Out of my nature has come wild despair, an abandonment to grief that was piteous even to look at, terrible and impotent rage, bitterness and scorn, anguish that wept aloud, misery that could find no voice, sorrow that was dumb. I have got to make everything that has happened to me good for me. The plank bed, the loathsome food, the hard ropes shredded into oakum until one's fingertips grow dull with pain, the menial offices with which each daily begins and finishes, the harsh orders that routine seems to necessitate, the dreadful dress that makes sorrow grotesque to look at, the silence, the solitude, the shame. Each and all of these things I have to transform into a spiritual experience. And if I then am not ashamed of my punishment, as I hope not to be, I shall be able to think and walk and live with freedom. Christ had no patience with the dull, lifeless, mechanical systems that treat people as if they were things, and so treat everybody alike. For him, there were no laws. There were exceptions merely, as if anybody or anything, for that matter, was like aught else in the world. I am to be released, if all goes well with me, towards the end of May. And I hope to go at once to some little seaside village abroad. I hope to be at least a month with my friends and to gain peace and balance and a less troubled heart and a sweeter mood. I have a strange longing for the great, simple, primeval things such as the sea, to me no less of a mother than the earth. It seems to me that we all look at nature too much and live with her too little. All trials are trials for one's life, just as all sentences are sentences of death. And 3 times have I been tried. The first time I left the box to be arrested, the second time to be led back to the house of detention, and the third time to pass into a prison for 2 years. Society, as we have constituted it, will have no place for me, has none to offer. But nature, whose sweet rains fall on unjust and just alike, will have clefts in the rocks where I may hide, and secret valleys in whose silence I may weep undisturbed. She will hang the night with stars so that I may walk abroad in the darkness without stumbling, and send the wind over my footprints so that none may track me to my hurt. She will cleanse me in great waters, and with bitter herbs make me whole.
Thank you, Alan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to welcome the 34 singers of Gay Abandon with their arrangement of Lady Gaga's Born This Way.
It doesn't matter if you love him or capital H-I-M. Just put your paws up, because you were born this way, baby.
Put my hair up, put my lipstick on, in the glass of her
My friend Bright Light, aka Rod Thomas, has joined us. Now, Rod, a moment ago we heard that reading from Oscar Wilde, which was so beautiful. Now, I have a question for you. If you had a time machine and could go back to speak to Mr. Wilde, what would you tell him in regards to how the world's attitude had changed and would change toward homosexuality?
I would say that it definitely doesn't get perfect. Nothing is ever easy, but just to imagine the fact that the work that he wrote, however implicitly, would let LGBTQI people across the world feel that they were not alone and that there are other people in the world who want to support them regardless of their own sexuality or gender. And that's very important. You know, it's
very important. It's the most important thing.
most important thing.
Thank you so much, Rod. Now, our next artist is not only a fellow presenter who has broadcast on all the BBC's music networks 1 through 6, but also a singer, songwriter, bass player, and passionate equal rights campaigner.
He also has the distinction of recording a single that was banned by the dear old BBC. Yeah, that happened, back in the 70s, which then went on to become a gay anthem.
How fantastic, then, that he has agreed to perform it for us tonight. With Glad to Be Gay, please welcome Tom Robinson.
I wrote this song 41 years ago. Back then, it was angry and bitter, but it quickly became a celebration. And tonight we're celebrating. But just to mark how far we've come, here are the original words. The best in the world. I don't believe one of these stories I've heard about raiding our pubs for no reason at all, lining the customers up by the wall, picking out people, knocking them down, resisting arrest as they're kicked on the ground, searching their houses, calling them queer. Don't believe that sort of thing happened here. Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Pictures of naked young women are fun in Penthouse and Playboy, page 3 of The Sun. There's no nudes in Gay News or One magazine, but they still found excuses to call it obscene. Read how disgusting we are in the press, in the news of the Screws and the Sunday Express. Molesters of children, corrupters of youth. It's there in the papers, it must be the truth. So try and sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Just sing if you're happy that way. Don't try to kid us that if you're discreet, you're perfectly safe as you walk down the street. You don't have to mince or make bitchy remarks to get beaten unconscious and left in the dark. I had a friend, he was gentle and short. He got lonely one evening and went for a walk. Queer bashers caught him and kicked in his teeth. He was only hospitalized for a week. So try and sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. For 49 years now I've fought for the right for people to love just whoever they like. Today we can laugh as we march to the park and toss 28's been consigned to the past. If gay liberation means freedom for all, a label is no liberation at all. Bisexual, lesbian, flexible, straight, we're here and we're human and all happy to say. Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Again, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy that way. Hey, sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy this way.
Thank you. That was a moment. Thank you very much, Tom Robinson. By coronation year 1953, attitudes towards homosexuality were slowly beginning to change. Although it was still illegal, society and the law were becoming more tolerant.
When the great actor, Sir John Gielgud, was caught propositioning an undercover policeman that year outside a public loo, he was arrested and taken to court. But though the magistrate admitted he would have liked to send Sir John to prison, he did not.
Instead, Sir John was fined £10 for being drunk and disorderly and told to go and see a doctor.
Nothing more might have been heard about the affair had it not been for the press, who quickly learned that one of the country's most famous acting knights had been had up for soliciting. The story was splashed all over the front pages, and for a moment it looked as though Gielgud's career might be over.
But on the first night of his next play, a marvellous thing happened. Alan Corduna quotes theatrical historian Richard Huggett.
It is unlikely that there was ever a night filled with such tension and gloomy foreboding. Gielgud's first entrance was a quarter of an hour into the first act, probably the longest and most crucifying 15 minutes of his life. Now, when the moment came, he couldn't enter. He was paralyzed and shaking with fear. It was Sybil Thorndike who came to the rescue. When Gielgud failed to appear, she could see him in the wings. She knew what the trouble was and what had to be done. She walked off through the French windows. She grabbed him and whispered fiercely, "Come on, John, darling, they won't boo me," and led him firmly to the stage. To everybody's astonishment and indescribable relief, the audience gave him a standing ovation. They cheered, they clapped, they shouted. The message was quite clear. The English public had always been loyal to its favorites, and this was their chance to show that they didn't care about what he had done in his private life. He was still their adored leading actor, still a star, and still their very own John Gielgud, and that they loved and they respected him dearly. It was a moment never to be forgotten by those who witnessed it. Sybil Thorndike hugging him, smiling with unmistakable defiance as the audience, as if to say, I don't think it matters. Do you? And Gielgud, the famous tears visibly running down his cheeks, unable to speak. It was a long time before he could stammer out the first line, one of delicious triviality. Oh dear, I'd forgotten we had all those azaleas. Which at a moment of such cosmic significance was greeted by a roar of laughter and renewed applause.
Thank you so much, Alan. And now, ladies, gentlemen, and those not on the gender binary, please welcome the classical tenor, Noah Stewart.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll
Noah Stewart!
A little tear there, my dear. A little tear.
All right, that, as you can see, it's gone down very well in the hall in Hull.
I think they enjoyed it. You enjoyed that, right? Yeah. Okay, you're listening to BBC Radio 2, and I hope watching on the BBC Red button or the BBC website, where tonight Anna and I are hosting this special event from Hull City Hall, celebrating. There they are. Celebrating the 50th anniversary of the decriminalisation of homosexuality.
Next up, a UK music legend. Are you ready? She's a 3-time Brit Award winner, a Grammy nominee, whose album sales alone have reached a staggering 23 million, performing one of her classic tracks, Whispering Your Name. Ladies, gentlemen, and those not on the gender binary, please welcome Alison Moyet.
I'm so very happy to be here with you. Thank you for being here for me, as always. When she said that you were true, I thought that there was nothing that I could do. Just because she ran right here doesn't mean I interfered. Now I'm wondering if we can be the same. 'Cause she keeps whispering your name. She keeps on whispering your name like she's just she felt, didn't just want me to hear it from someone else. There were unknowns she couldn't know, but she hoped you two would grow. And when you didn't, she was brought to me in pain. And she keeps whispering your name. She keeps on whispering your name like she's just waiting. If it's just a little fling, a simple thing, I'll try not to pretend. If it's just for jealousy, she's using me, that might be hard to make. Oh, what else can I do but try to give her more than she got from you? And when she wakes up suddenly and she says your name to me, I'll just hope it's force of habit and not real. 'Cause she keeps whispering your name. She keeps on whispering your name like she's just waiting. Oh, tell me what is fair when nothing's wrong. She just stares like she's just
The fantastic Alison Moyet. And we're now joined by Tom Robinson. Tom, can you give us just a sense of of what this piece of legislation has meant to gay people since 1967?
Well, 67 was just the beginning, because actually more gay men and bisexual men went to prison and got heavier sentences after 67 than before it. So it was a long, slow, difficult, bitter journey. A lot of people fought tooth and nail all the way against it. But gradually, the ordinary people just went, what the hell, you know? They were way ahead of the legislators. And we eventually got all the way through the 80s, 90s, and in the early 21st century, we got equality before the law.
And you're pleased with where we are now, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Tom. Also, let's just say, what a moment Glad to Be Gay was earlier, right? Fantastic, thank you so much. Okay, more music now at I Feel Love in Hull, this time from Will Young.
Space with minimum grace and maximum joy. City lights, business nights. If you require streetcar desire for higher heights, no place for beginners, sensitive hearts. Sentiment is left to chance. No place to be ending, somewhere to start. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail. Across the north and south to Chicago, love for sale. Face to face, each classic case. We shadow box and double cross, we need the chase. License to love, insurance to hold. Melts all your memories and change into gold. His eyes are like fire, his heart is cold. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail. Across the north and south to Chicago, love for sale. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. He's a smooth, he's a smooth, he's a smooth. He's a smooth, he's a smooth, he's a smooth. He's a smooth, he's a smooth, he's a smooth. 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 He's a smooth.
Will Young and his band with that new jazzy version of the great Sade hit, Smooth Operator. It's time from our last reading from Alan Cord Jr. This is from the Man Booker Prize winning novel by Alan Hollinghurst, The Line of Beauty.
At the centre of the novel is an openly gay character called Nick Guest, and this extract shows us just how far we've come since the days of Oscar Wilde and Sir John, and perhaps hints at how far we still have to go.
So, there they were, out in the street, being nudged, flooded round by the crowds, and heedlessly obstructive in their own slow walk, which unfurled down the hill to the faint, silky tickling of Leo's bicycle wheels. It was all new to Nick. This being with another man, carried along on the smooth, swelling current of mutual feeling, with its eddies, sometimes into shop doorways or under the awnings of the bric-a-brac stalls. There was no more talk of lunch, which was a good sign. In fact, they didn't say anything much, but now and then they shared glances which flowered into wonderful smirks. Lust prickled Nick's thighs and squeezed his stomach and throat and made him almost groan between the smiles, as if it just wasn't fair to be promised so much. He fell behind a step or two and walked along shaking his head. He wanted to be Leo's jeans. In their casual rhythmical caress of his strolling legs, their monumentary grip and letting go. His hands flickered against Leo time and time again to draw attention to things, a chair, a plate, a passing punk's head of blue spikes. He must have come first out of all the men Leo had auditioned. He kept touching Leo on the bottom in the simple pleasure of permission. Leo didn't reciprocate exactly. He had his own canny eye for the street. He even raised a sly eyebrow at the sexy shock of other boys going past. But it didn't matter, because there was sort of superfluity, the glancing overspill of his brimming desire for Nick. As they dawdled through the crowd, Nick saw himself rushing ahead through neglected years of his moral education. This was what it was like.
Thank you, Alan. And now, please welcome back the one and only Marc Almond.
Thank you very much. This next song, written by Charles Aznavour, may be a little old, it may be a little old-fashioned in some of its lines, but it still tells a beautiful story. And it's one of the great gay songs of all time, I think, along with, of course, Tom's Glad to Be Gay. And it's called What Makes a Man. I think it's good to know that the history of gay people, where gay people have come from, what they've gone through to get to the place that we are here tonight. My mum and I, we live alone. A great apartment is our home. In Fairholme Towers, I have to keep me company. 2 dogs, a cat, a parakeet, some plants and flowers. I help my mother do the chores. I wash, she dries, I do the floors. We work together. I shop and cook and sew a bit. Though Mum does too, I must admit, I do it better. At night I work in a strange bar, impersonating every star. I'm quite deceiving. The customers come in with doubt and wonder what I'm all about, but leave believing. I do a very special show where I am nude from head to toe. After strip teasing, Each night the men look so surprised. I change my sex before their eyes. Tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? At 3 o'clock or so I meet with friends to have a bite to eat and conversation. We love to empty out our hearts with every subject from the arts to liberation. We love to pull apart someone and spread some gossip just for fun, or start a rumor. We let our hair down, so to speak, mock ourselves with tongue in cheek and inside humor. So many times we had to pay for having fun and being gay. It's not amusing. There's always those that spoil our games by finding fault and calling names, always accusing. They draw attention to themselves at the expense of someone else. It's so confusing. Yet they make fun of how I talk and imitate the way I walk. So tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? My masquerade comes to an end, and I go home to bed again, alone and friendless. I close my eyes, I think of him, I fantasize what might have been. My dreams are endless. We love each other, but it seems the love lives only in my dreams. It's so one-sided. But in this life I must confess, the search for love and happiness is unrequited. I ask myself, what have I got? And what I am and what I'm not. What am I giving? The answers come from those who make the rules that some of us must break just to keep living. I know my life is not a crime, and I'm not a victim of my time, though I stand defenseless. Nobody has the right to be the judge of what is right for me. So tell me if you can, what makes a man a man? Tell me if you can. Come on, tell me if you can. Tell me if you can, what makes a man a man?
Marc Almond. And now, it's time for Gay Abandoned with I Am What I Am from Jerry Herman's hit musical La Cage à Faux. And before that, Marc Almond with What Makes a Man a Man.
I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have
can say, hey world, I am what I am. I don't want praise, I don't want pity. I make my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's free. And so why not a different angle? Your life is a sham till you can shout out loud, I am what I am. I am what I am, and what I am needs no ways to say. I feel my own death, sometimes the aches, sometimes the juices. For my life is no eternal deposit, for my soul it's
The fabulous Gay Abandon with I Am What I Am. The 1967 Act prepared the way for new freedoms across the LGBTQ family. Here is a new song, The Rarest Birds, that the transgender community has already taken to its heart. It's from Other, the latest album from our next artist. Please welcome back Alison Moyet.
in this town. Forget who you are, remembering who you were meant to be. Find yourself bearing easy, Mercury aside, a lyric sea. Such love is this. It's thread for a party dress. The lines are strung like pearls, so offer your throat. And if we hang, then we hang in the stars. Take my hand and come, be the hostess girl. Skip a grace note on your heel to whichever hymn you please. For the rarest birds are these. Navigate the city wall by dove great gun constellations. They're the twins and they're the plough. And now I'm at your door, seeing you through your window, fixing your hair for grey, pulling at your face, trying not to frown like this. And you hold up your party dress. The lines
Anna Matrona and Scott Mills on BBC Radio 2. Coming to you from the City Hall in Hull with a special live concert called I Feel Love, part of the BBC's Gay Britannia season.
You can also join us by going to the red button channel on your TV, watching the live stream on the Radio 2 website. And of course, the whole concert will be on BBC iPlayer for the next 30 days, which this lot will be watching when they get home.
Oh, yeah. Now, there aren't that many bands who've taken their names from a character in a movie.
Well, Duran Duran was one, named after a character played by Milo O'Shea and Barbarella, of course.
Yes, and here's another. Rod Thomas must have been, and he is, a keen science fiction fan because he took his name from a line in Joe Dante's movie Gremlins. You know, remember Gizmo, that cute little mogwai? He was a little shaken up by the bright light, bright light. So was Rod. So here he is with his latest single, Into the Night.
Thank you so much to the BBC for putting on this event. It's a real honor to be here among some of my favorite artists that I've been buying records for years. And thank you so much to everybody for being so open-minded and tolerant. It's what the world needs. Thank you.
They say, don't be reckless, think twice, think real hard. Oh, what do I say? Think of the state of your heart. They say, hold back, don't be careless, hold tight and keep your guard up. What do they know? I wanna know who you are. So I'll go running through the dark with my heart fired up till everything ignites. I want everything now. I wanna know what it's like. If it's real, if the heat stays when I lose my emotion, if you keep me warm when I'm lost in your eyes. I wanna know what it's like, what it's like. And I won't be jealous, no, I won't do that, but I will be ready. So take my hand, take me over, take the words I say, take me all of the way, and take me into the night, into the days, into the eye of the storm. Take me into your heart, into your heart, and leave me shut by a love, shut by a kiss, shut by how easy it is to fall into your arms, into your arms. Don't wait, don't be careful, come full speed and hit real hard. I won't break, I wanna know who you are. And I want to run through the dark with my heart on fire till everyone can see what you make me. I want them to know how it feels to know that when I'm not strong and my heart's wide open, you keep me warm. When I can't fight, you keep me up on my feet, on my feet. And I won't be jealous, no, I won't do that, and I will be ready. So take my hand, take me over, take the words I say, take me all of the way, and take me into the night, into the days, into the eye of the storm. Take me into your heart, into your heart, and leave me shut by a love, can take the lead, 'cause I wanna know what it's like by your side. I won't be jealous, I won't do that. So take me into the night, into the days, into the eye of the storm. Take me into your heart, into your heart. Leave me shocked by your light, shocked by your kiss, shocked by how easy it is to fall into your arms, into your arms. To fall into your arms, into your arms. Thank you. Be good to each other.
Amazing. Thank you. Bright Light, and also Alison Moyet with the rarest burst before that. Now, legend has it that this next song was written after Tom Robinson had left the band Cafe Society and before setting up the Tom Robinson Band in 1977.
Tom wanted something so simple that it could be quickly learned by whichever friends turned up to join him on his gigs. And he didn't think the song would do anything. But amazingly, he's celebrating its 40th anniversary this autumn.
So the verse was inspired by his remembering just driving back in the early morning light.
While the chorus was lifted from an old gay lib chant.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Gay is twice as good as straight. 3, 5, 7, 9. Lesbians are mighty fine. Here's Tom!
Drive my truck midway to the motorway station. Fairlinkers coming up on the left-hand side. Headlights shining, driving rain on the window frame. The young lady started to ride. 2, 4, 6, 8, heading too late. Made my radio drum up through the night. 3, 5, 7, 9, double wide line. Motorway sun coming up with the moonlight. Winston too pretty, and the two wheels starting. This old tin-ton lorry got a beat on you. Ain't no use sitting up in the back companion. Ain't nobody gets better than you know you. 2, 4, 6, 8, never too late. Need my radio turned on through the night. 3, 5, 7, 9, double wide line. Motorway sun coming up with the morning. You. Well, there ain't no route you could choose to lose the two of us. Nobody knows when you're acting right or wrong. No one knows if we're always leading nowhere. I'm gonna keep on driving home with the road I'm on. 2, 4, 6, 8, never too late. Me and my radio coming on through the night. 3, 5, 7, 9, double white line. Motorway sun coming up with the morning light. Same old motorway sun coming up with the morning light. Motorway sun coming up with the morning light. angel touching them through the light. They have said not a double wide line. Motorway sun coming up with the morning light. Woo!
Tom Robinson! Yes, well, we're coming towards the end of our concert here tonight, but we have a couple more songs before we go.
The first, as Hull City prepares to party on right through the night, is particularly appropriate. You know they will. It's called None Shall Sleep, better known as Nessun Dorma, the fabulous song that Luciano Pavarotti made famous from the opera Turandot.
Get ready to sing it, accompanied by our own Mike Dixon on piano. Please welcome back Noah Stewart.
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessun saprà, no, no, sulla domanda dirò quando la luce ed il mio bacio scioglierà il silenzio che ti fa mia.
Absolutely incredible. Noah Stewart. Of course, the 1967 legislation we're celebrating tonight didn't mark the end of the struggle for gay rights in this country, nor does it help the thousands of people living in the 74 countries where LGBTQ relationships are still illegal, or the 12 countries in which homosexuality is punishable by death. But it was the start of reform here, and a law for which many thousands of people have been grateful ever since.
Here is a last song with an appropriate lyric for lovers everywhere. Please welcome back Will Young with Wishing Well.
Like a bandit stealing time underneath the mistletoe tree. Cupid by the hour sends Valentine's to my sweet lover and me. Slowly, surely, your appetite is more than I knew. So sweetly, softly, I'm falling in love with you. Kiss me, love, wishing well, to kiss and tell, wishing well, a butterfly dear. Kiss me, love, wishing well, to kiss and tell, wishing well, of crocodile tears. Come on. Come on. Hugging like a monkey see, monkey do. Right beside a river brook and below. Erotic images flow through my head. So we wanna be a midnight gambler. Slowly, surely, your appetite is more than I knew. It's really softly, I'm falling in love with you. Sing it now. Miss me, love, wishing well, to kiss and tell, wishing well, a butterfly dear. Miss me, love, wishing well, to kiss and tell, wishing well, of crocodile tears. Come on. Yeah, come on. 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 Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop. That's really hard. This is really hard, this. Yeah. Hey, come on. 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 Come on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Will Young. And that is just about it for tonight. All that remains is to thank our fabulous artists, Will Young, Alison Moyet, Tom Robinson, Bright Light, Bright Lights.
Marc Almond, Noah Stewart, Gay Abandon, and actor Alan Cord Jr.
Our musical director, Mike Dixon, and his band, The Friends of Dorothy. Our producer, Anthony Cherry.
And the wonderful people here in Hull and the City Hall.
And of course, all of you at home listening and watching on Red Button. From me, Scott Mills.
And me, Automatronic. It's goodbye.
And there's
there's
only really one way we can finish,
there's
right?
only one way we can close it.
Of course, this is the Donna Summer Classic. I Feel Love. Good night.
Good night.